In this set of lessons, we're going to look at speed, distance and time and how to calculate them, knowing some certain values. So there's a lot of pictures here of fast planes, boats, trains, cars. Cheetah's also the fastest land animal, goes at about 60 miles per hour. And Usain Bolt, obviously, the fastest man in the world, or he was when he was running. Nobody's ever beat him at the 100 metres. His time in the 200 metres as well. Now, to try and think about these things and how fast something is going, if you think of this remote control car, it's a car I used to have and I brought it into school at one point, and you think what equipment you would need to actually measure the speed, it's actually simpler than you think. And there's actually only a couple of things you need to do to work out how fast it was going, and throughout these lessons we should discover how to work that out. But the first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at common units involved in time and distance and speed. So I think we'll start with time. Some units of time, just simple things you should know. We could measure time in hours, minutes, or seconds. Obviously days and things like that, but these are the most common ones involved in this topic. Distances, we could measure distances, how far something is in miles, that'd be quite far. Also kilometres and meters, they're the most common units of distance. Again, we're going to look at, you could involve millimeters and centimeters, they're also distances, but those are what we're going to stick to mainly. So how do you think about speed then? Now, if you've obviously been in a car at some point, and if you look at the speedometer in a car, it's generally this miles per hour, how many miles you travel in 1 hour. Now also, in the speedometer in the car, it doesn't just have miles per hour, but if you look at a second ring round the speedometer, it's also got kilometres per hour on there. And for measuring Usain Bolt and how fast he goes, we tend not to deal with these units because he runs in meters, like 100 meters or 200 meters. So we usually use meters per second, and that's denoted like this, M and a wee slash and an S. That means meters per second. So these are the main units that we're going to use in these topics. But to start off today, what we're going to look at is this simple question. If you imagine Anne and he are travelling at a steady speed of 40 miles per hour, not too fast. In 1 hour, she travels 40 miles. That's what that means, 40 miles per hour. 1 hour, 40 miles. Now the question is, how far did she drive in 4 hours? Well, if you think about that, she's done 4 times the amount. So all you're going to do is 4 times 40, which is 160, 4 fours are 16 and so on. So that allowed you to calculate the distance if we knew the time and the speed. Now what did we do with these two things, the time and the speed? We just multiplied them. And that allows us to calculate other distances if we know the speed and the time. So if something was travelling at 5 meters per second, that means every second it goes 5 meters. So in 6 seconds, 6 times the amount, so that would be 5 times 6. So it would travel 30 meters. And notice the unit here is meters because they're travelling in meters per second. Okay, another person going at 36 miles per hour. So 1 hour, 36 miles. So in 4 hours, that would be 4 times that amount. So 4 times 36, 144. Again, look at the units here, miles, because we were in miles per hour. So the units come from the speed. If you look at the speeds units, like meters per second, so it's meters, and miles per hour, so it's miles. So hopefully you can guess what the next one is. Have a guess. The next unit will be kilometers because it's kilometers per hour. So 40 kilometers per hour, so 1 hour, 40 kilometers. So in 20 hours, 20 times 40, so 800 kilometers. So that's the basic idea of this lesson. Now we'll look at these kind of harder ones later on, 3 hours and 30 minutes and 2 hours and 45, but not just now. So today's lesson is using this formula here, choosing the correct units. So this is the formula I want you to write down into your jotter. To get the distance travelled, you do speed times time. So that's a formula you can use. As long as you know the speed and the time of whatever's travelling, you can certainly work out the distance. This can be used in any situation. I'm just going to look at this Eco Speedboat. This is a real boat and it's powered by human fat of all things. And it travels, it's 46 miles per hour, and somebody actually took it around the world and they took 521 hours to do it. So if you think of it travelling at a constant speed of 46 miles per hour and it was doing it for 521 hours, we can work out how far it travelled just by doing that formula we talked about. Distance equals speed times time. So you take your speed, 46, times it by 521. Obviously, you use a calculator for this. And the speed is in miles per hour, so the distance must be in. Have a think. It's miles. So there you are. So that's how far it travelled. Now we're going to do easier ones than this, but that's the general idea. Okay, so in this lesson, what we're going to do is we're not going to use the bookwork. We're going to do the work on the screen here, just because I feel it's better than the ones in the book. So we'll start with this. So again, if you didn't copy this before, this is your formula. Copy it into your jotter and put a wee box or a few stars around it or things. Now it says here we're not using a calculator. Okay, so exercise 1, I'm going to show you how I want it set out and what I'm looking for. So 1A, how far in kilometres can you travel walking at 4 kilometres per hour? That's your speed for 2 hours. There's your time. So the first thing you want to do is write the formula out. So part A, d equals s times t. We're not going to write distance and speed and time every time. That would take too long, so we'll just shorten it to the letters d equals s times t. Line your equal sign up, so it'll be 4 times 2. And then easy is 8. Make sure you get the units correct. The units is going to be kilometres, so that would be 8 kilometres, and you've got it right. 3 lines are working. Start with the formula, and then the answers here. Again, I'll do part B just to show you how simple this is. So jogging at 5 kilometres per hour for 4 hours. Start with the formula. D equals S times T. The speed's 5 kilometres per hour and the time is 4 hours. So it's 5 times 4 and it's 20 kilometres. Okay, I'm going to show you the 2 questions I want you to try and then we'll go through the answers. I would pause the video, have a go at them and then try yourself. So I'll put it into full screen to show you. I would pause it, then have a go. Okay, hopefully you paused it there. I'm just going to go for the answers quickly. So question 1A, we did that before, 4 times 2, that would be 8. B, 5 times 4, that would be 20. Remember your kilometres. C, that would be 9 times 3. You should put the working out. Well, that should be 27 actually, not 18. 3 times 9 is 27, and 5 times 32 is 160 kilometres. So we change that one to 27. Okay, question 2. Calculate the distance travelled. 48 miles per hour for 2 hours, so it's 48 times 2. That would be 96 miles. Train travelling at 80 miles per hour for 6, so 6 times 8 is 48, so that would be 480 miles. These are all in miles distances. 360 times 4, 1440 miles. And last one, 14 times 3, 42 miles.